Good morning. Well, probably late morning now. I'm probably maybe 11:30 or so. Super Bowl Sunday here. Um, Generally don't watch. I'll be honest. I don't watch sports like I used to. Uh, just just grow out of it, I guess. Um, but being that my hometown team, the Philadelphia Eagles, are in it, I will definitely be watching tonight, at least part of the game. Um, I've been really busy the past few weeks, um, namely with firstly, I getting some work done on both my wife's car and my car, and some of that I did myself. I'm not a mechanic by any stretch, but everybody knows that when you get your car worked on, it's never cheap. So I do whatever I can myself, and what I can't do, I take to a mechanic and have the mechanic do it. So that I've been working on organizing a garage and a couple projects around the house. Um, wasn't really planning on filming a video today, to be honest, but I don't know if how this correlates to anything, but I woke up a lot earlier this morning than really wanted to, and I don't know if you remember the movie. It was called A River Runs Through It. Came out in the early '90s. I really liked the movie. Very good movie. I really enjoyed it. Um, but the I read the I in high school. I read that book, and it was one of those books that stuck with me. And I really like the movie. Like most movies, when the movie comes out, I saw the movie, and I was slightly disappointed in some of the changes made at the time. But then looking back on it, I thought they did the movie was really well done. But um, really, what I was talking about was I remember reading that book in high school. It's a novella, and there's other stories, all of the stories really stuck with me. And it was just watching that movie today. It sort of made me sad. In that, I remember reading that book. I guess I was 15 or 16 years old, and now here I'm in my fifth decade, and it's just, one of those things you look back on, and it's a gray, gloomy day, and I kind of cool, and it's just I don't know. It made me maybe introspective, I guess. Maybe if we want to use a 10-cent word, and I started thinking about a lot of things, and when I get that way, I find the best thing to do is start moving around, working with my hands and stuff like that, which back a few years ago, even as few as 5 years ago, I would have, and I would have. I don't like the winter. We've had a fairly mild winter here. It's been pretty typical. The mornings are a little bit below freezing, and the afternoons and maybe 10 degrees or so warmer, 10 to 15 degrees warmer. So very typical. We've had not much snowfall, so it's not necessarily the winter and the cold weather or anything. That's been fairly normal. It's just the gloominess of it all. And now, I remember thinking, I love warm climates and all that, but I remember thinking, well, I could never move to Florida. I just would never. Now I know why people move to Florida when they get older. It's I don't think it's necessarily purely about temperature. It's about you're you in this area you lose you look out the window and the grass is brownish and there's no leaves on the trees. That is a sort of a sad feeling to me as I've become older. It's becoming more and more apparent every year. I look at I'm looking out my window right now in the garage, and it's, as I said, it's a gray, dreary day, and just yeah, it just makes you, you know, a little bit melancholy, maybe it is, that's the right word. Um, but yeah, as I was saying, 5 years ago, even 5 years ago, I would have gone. I would I would be at the gym right now, and I really always enjoyed working out, and it just made me feel a lot better. And now ironically, the reason I can't work out is because I worked out so much, is I have tendonitis in my right arm, and it's pretty bad. It's it's I can't put it this way. I can't lift weights anymore. So it's bad enough where I won't be able to do that really ever again unless I do something drastic like surgery, or and even then that's no guarantee at my age. Um, but what I did do, I've been mentioning that I've been doing some reorganization in the garage here. Um, what I did do, well, to this plane here first. Um, I really did some heavy duty maintenance on this plane. Well, let's not call it heavy duty, but I gave the sole a flattening, a real flattening, and I did that with a jack plane, but I also used sticky back sandpaper. Um, Great product. If I'm sure most woodworkers have it, um, but it's an excellent product for something like this. And I finished it off. I did two sandings, and the mouth is still nice and tight for a wood body plane of this age. A lot of times you see these mouths gaping at that point, and they really need to be refitted or add a new mouth. Um, this plane is well over 100 years. I'd say it's probably mid 18th century, and it still has the original mouth on it, which is really unusual. But I did a little bit of work on the iron, and people will tell you that some people will tell you that you can't get really fine shavings with a with a plane like this, and but you can you can certainly get finish level shaving. Now this I didn't set this yet, so it could be a little off. I set it on Friday when I flattened it, but yeah, it's still pretty good. This is just a home center piece of oak, but that's a really fine shaving there. So much so that I can't really, if I pull it, it'll just fall apart. But you can see that the grain of oak, how when you plane oak really fine, the grain splits like that, which is a good sign. So that I did that, and I did this plane here. I'm about to drop it. See if we can, it's nice and flat now. Not that it wasn't before, but it's in really good shape now. But there is an issue, and the mouth on the plane is just too wide now. And I've never done a repair like that before, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research. And I thought about filming a video of doing it, but I'm too much of a, as I said, I've never done it before. I know the basics of it. I know the theory behind it, so to speak. But I could say that about a lot of things. I know the theory behind, rocket travel, but you don't want me working on the space shuttle. So that's why I don't think I'm going to film a video, because I don't have real editing software, and I don't I wouldn't work well. My garage, as I said before, is not organized enough to it's not, and I shouldn't say that, it's pretty well organized. It's not set up for me to film a really lengthy video, and I don't have any way to really edit it properly. I'm not very good at that type of thing. But what I'm going to use, I kept this plane for a reason. This here, and I wish I knew the brand of it. This is a really old coffin smoother. It's really, it's sort of like sloped downward. I can't make out this here. I'm sorry, forgive me. This is Sheffield tool steel. So it's pretty high quality tool steel, and it's a shame, but the plane is this shot. It's really not worth fixing. When I got it, it was covered in paint. That's why it's. People talk about patina. I don't really. Patina's cool and all that, but if I'll take. I'll take a newer looking tool that feels better in my hand than patina all day long. Patina doesn't mean that much to me, but it does to some people, which is fine. That's really just a personal preference. But I tried to clean this up, and but if you look at that slope there, it's really bad. I thought about like trying to flatten it, but I'd have a plane. When all is said and done, this plane would only be about maybe 2 inches wide, two inches thick, and that's just not enough. Really, the mouth is gaping. The cheeks that hold the wedge are askew, and they're all chipped out. But the iron is still good, and I probably will clean this up at some point. And there is enough beach on here to, if I'm not mistaken, to make a new mouth. It would be a little tricky, but I think I could do it with this plane. So that's what I might try to do. You could ask, well, why am I going through with this? Because I don't necessarily use this joiner anymore. I've never, to be honest, I never really used it to begin with. It was given to me. I wanted to get it operational again, and I managed to do that. And I wanted to, clean it up. And I'm like a lot of people. I'm not necessarily sentimental, but I wanted to get this cleaned up and working right, even if I was not planning on using it. And I think I've managed to do that, but it just might be a cool experiment to attempt to replace the mouth of a plane. I've shown I have a number 7, an old number 7 Stanley that I've had for quite a while, and that is an excellent tool. It does everything that this tool can do, for the most part. This certainly there is something about a wood-bodied plane that I really enjoy using, but in terms of functionality, the Stanley's just a much better plane. Not because this was a bad plane, because this needs maintenance and the Stanley doesn't. That really needs a lot more maintenance than I want to put into it at the moment. But I might, one of these days I might attempt to replace that mouth. But otherwise, I've been really I've been just working around the house and hoping and praying for an early spring, because it's I said it before, I said earlier, winter's not my favorite time of year, let's just put it that way. I find it a little depressing, to be honest. But just really wanted to check in. Here's another cool tool I had that I cleaned up. This was in pretty rough shape. And I mean, it still functioned as a roller. It was just filthy. It's an old Lufkin. See if we can. Here we go. It's an old Lufkin 2-foot roller, and it's pretty good. It really just needed to be cleaned, and I did polish the brass. Some people say don't do that, but the brass, there once again we're getting back to patina. Brass, there's good brass patina and bad brass patina. Sorry, getting tongue tied. And this was bad. It didn't look used, or it looked like it was sitting in dirt, which it probably was. So what I did with this, basically I oiled up the hinges slightly. I gave it a really nice cleaning with some linseed oil. Then I went over it with steel wool and some paste wax. And the reason I have it here, there's probably nothing I can do about this. I had it set in a rubber band. You'd see that little, there is a little, I guess that's probably a bit, that probably has a very slight crack in it, which keeps it from closing up nice like this side. You see that there's probably a flaw or something like that in there. But I had a rubber band around it to see if that would correct it. I mean, it was just really an unscientific attempt to, very low-tech attempt to see if that would straighten it out, and it really hasn't made much of a difference. And I don't want to really put any heavy weight on it, because it's still, I tested it against, a regular tape measure, and it's still very accurate. There's no, it still works as a roller just fine if I want to use it as a roller. And here's another, I probably, God knows when I purchased this, and I'm certain it was at my old job, so we're going back over probably 25 years. I found this in my attic. My wife was sort of getting on me a little bit about adding a new light to the attic. So I got around to doing that last weekend. And one of my old work toolboxes is up there, and I thought was empty, and I found this and an old J-roller in there. But yeah, I really, this video was just checking in. Basically saying where I've been, what I've been doing for the past few weeks, if anybody actually cared. But I hope to, once again, I do have a couple of furniture projects, some small projects I'm planning on working on. One I'd really like to do, is funny, speaking of a river runs through it, is in the movie at his parents' house. The lead character Norman, when at their front entrance, there's a little entry table there, but very small, fine legged entry table. Sort of looks shaped like slightly shaker. So it's hard to get a really good look at it. I'm going to see if I can get a still of it. And I'd really like to make a project like that. I really enjoy those types of projects. You can really work on small details. I like small projects better than big projects at this stage. I like working on really little details, and on a project like that, I think you could really go to town and add a lot of little fine, subtle, hints of, craftsmanship, and not that I'm a great craftsman, but I try. So I hope you guys have a great day. If you do watch the Super Bowl, I hope you enjoy it. I hope I don't sound like a public service message, but don't drink too much. Have a great time, and catch you guys next time. Have a great night. Thanks. Bye.